I came here tonight believing I had nothing left to lose. I didn't expect to find someone who'd see me anyway. The words trembled from Wren Calloway's lips as she stood in the entrance of the Sterling room, wearing a faded cotton dress with frayed hems and shoes held together by hope more than thread. At 25, the social worker looked nothing like the polished women gliding past her in designer heels and silk. She looked exactly like what she was, exhausted, underpaid, and recently evicted, after giving her last month's rent to a foster family in crisis. Her best friend had set up this blind date, insisting she deserved one nice evening. Wren had explained she had nothing appropriate to wear. Her friend had said, "Just come as you are." So she did. She should have known better. Across the restaurant, 33-year-old CEO Colton Thorne sat alone at a corner table, his tailored suit and commanding presence making him look like he owned the room, which, according to the rumors, he partly did. His company had just closed $1 billion deal. He could have been anywhere. Instead, his business partner had orchestrated this setup, claiming he needed to remember what matters. Colton was about to leave when he saw her. The hostess was whispering urgently, clearly suggesting Wren didn't belong. But Colton saw something else. The way she held her chin high, despite the shame burning in her cheeks. The dignity in her spine, even as her hands clutched a worn canvas bag like a lifeline. He stood, walked toward her. The restaurant went quiet. "Are you Wren?" His voice was gentle, not what she expected. She nodded, unable to speak past the humiliation. "I'm Colton. I'm glad you came." He extended his hand. When she hesitated, he added softly, "Please, I've been looking forward to this." The hostess's expression shifted to shock as Colton led Wren to the best table in the house, pulling out her chair like she was wearing diamonds instead of desperation. What Wren didn't know was that Colton had grown up poor, so poor that shame was his first language and hunger was his constant companion. As they sat, Wren couldn't meet his eyes. "I should explain. I'm not usually. This isn't." "You don't owe me an explanation." Colton's tone was firm but kind. "But if you want to tell me, I'll listen." Something in his voice made her look up. His eyes held no judgment. Only curiosity, only recognition. "I gave away my rent money," she whispered, "to a family I work with. They were going to lose their kids to the system because they couldn't afford winter coats and shoes. So she gestured at herself. "This is all I have left. I'm staying at a shelter. I almost didn't come tonight because I was embarrassed, but my friend said you'd understand. I thought she was being kind. I didn't think anyone could actually understand," Colton finished quietly. "When I was 7, I wore the same torn jacket to school every day for 2 years. Kids called me garbage boy. Teachers looked through me like I was invisible. I learned early that the world judges you by your clothes before they judge you by your character." Wren's eyes widened. "You? Me?" He smiled, but it carried old pain. "I built my company from nothing because I was terrified of ever being that invisible again. But somewhere along the way, I forgot the difference between being seen and being valued." The evening unfolded like a conversation between old souls. Colton didn't perform wealth, he didn't flaunt. Instead, he asked about her work, really asked. And Wren, who spent her days fighting for children no one else wanted, found herself talking about the 7-year-old who'd finally smiled after 3 months in her care. The teenager who'd aged out of foster care and now called her every Sunday. The impossible bureaucracy and heartbreaking choices. "You give everything," Colton said softly, watching her face glow with purpose despite her circumstances. "Don't you ever want to keep something for yourself?" Wren's voice caught. "I do keep something. I keep the knowledge that I didn't look away, that when someone needed help, I didn't calculate the cost first.
My mother taught me that before she died, that kindness isn't kindness if you only offer it when it's convenient. Colton felt something crack open in his chest. I've spent 15 years building an empire on calculated risks and strategic moves, and you're telling me the bravest thing is to give without counting the cost? I'm saying, Ren met his eyes fully for the first time, that the world has enough people who know how to take. It needs more people who remember how to give. Over the following months, something extraordinary developed. Not a fairy tale, not rescue, but recognition. Colton started volunteering at the youth center where Ren worked, not with cameras or press releases, just showing up Tuesday evenings to help with homework. The kids called him Mr. C and taught him influence isn't about corner offices. It's about showing up consistently for people who need you. Ren didn't let him fix her problems, but she let him witness them. When her shelter bed was given to someone else, Colton helped her find a modest apartment, and she insisted on paying him back in installments, even when he said it was unnecessary. "It's necessary to me," she said firmly. "I don't want to be saved, Colton. I want to be seen." "Then let me tell you what I see." His voice was rough with emotion. "I see someone who had every reason to become bitter and chose kindness instead. I see someone who owns nothing but gives everything. I see someone who's teaching me that I've been measuring worth by all the wrong metrics." The turning point came during a crisis. One of Ren's foster kids, a 9-year-old named Danny, went missing. The system had moved too slowly on his adoption paperwork, and his biological father, freshly released from prison, had taken him. Ren was frantic, working with police, calling every contact, barely sleeping. Colton used every resource he had: private investigators, legal teams, connections in law enforcement. Not to show off, to help. When they found Danny safe 3 days later, Ren collapsed in Colton's arms and finally let herself break. "I can't keep doing this," she sobbed. "I can't keep fighting a system that doesn't care. I can't keep losing pieces of my heart to kids I can't save." Colton held her, his own eyes wet. "Then don't do it alone anymore. Let me help you build something better. Use my resources, my platform, your heart and my means. Together." Ren pulled back, searching his face. "Why? Why would you do this?" "Because that night in the restaurant, you showed up wearing your truth instead of a costume. You didn't pretend to be someone you weren't. And you looked at me, a CEO in an expensive suit, and didn't see my money. You saw me, the real me, the kid who used to be invisible." His voice dropped to a whisper. "I'm falling in love with you, Ren. Not because I want to save you, but because you saved me from becoming someone who forgot why any of this matters." The story doesn't end with a wedding. Not yet. It ends 8 months later at a newly opened youth center, funded by Colton's foundation, staffed by Ren's vision. 50 kids who aged out of foster care now have support, resources, and someone who believes in them. Colton and Ren stand together, watching a teenager receive her high school diploma, something she never thought possible. Ren leans into Colton's shoulder. "Do you remember what you said that first night? That you were looking forward to meeting me?" "I remember." "Did you mean it? Even seeing me like that?" "Especially seeing you like that. Because you taught me that the most valuable things in life can't be bought or tailored or polished. They're carried in the hearts of people brave enough to show up as they are, worn clothes, open hands, and all. You showed up that night with nothing and gave me everything that mattered." Ren's eyes fill with tears. "We're building something real, aren't we?" "We're building something true," he corrected gently. "And that's better than any fairy tale." Outside, the evening sun paints the sky in shades of hope. Inside, Two people who found each other not through perfection, but through presence, stand together, proof that the greatest love stories begin not with appearances, but with the courage to be seen. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, subscribe, and comment.